Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody doing today? And welcome to another day of AWS Amplify, 30 days of AWS Amplify. I know that. Yeah, another day of AWS Amplify. And today is going to be an exciting one because we did hear a lot about AWS Amplify with frontend. How do you build a web app, host a web app? But we're taking things a little further today. We're talking about securing your web apps with AWS Amplify, S3 based hosting, and application security headers by Kedar. And also, we have another speaker who will be sharing about Amplify Gen2 and diving deep into it and the backend types for front-end applications. So Takuya is one of the Japanese AWS Amplify User Group members, and it's also an exciting time for him because this is the first English session that he's delivering today. Without further ado, in case if you haven't joined us and registered in the given URL at config.com/30 days of AWS Amplify, do register and stay tuned for all the upcoming streams, workshops, and getting more details about AWS Amplify. You can also tune into our YouTube channel where we'll be streaming all of these things, and the recordings for the previous sessions, in case you've missed it, is also available in YouTube AWS User Group India channel. And also stay tuned to us on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, where we'll be posting different updates about AWS Amplify and different sessions, workshops, and also Hackathon. Did I just say hackathon? Yes, I did, because we are almost midway in our hackathon, and we'll be closing them soon. You should be registered on the hackathon and submit your projects with different GitHub repositories, a video, a slide talking about AWS Amplify and how it really helped you build something. We do have some exciting giveaways for the winners of the hackathon. While the talk time is ticking, you can get back to Hackathon, build an application using AWS Amplify and publish it and share those assets with us as a submission for the Hackathon. Today, we had a lot of sessions by different speakers who talked about different things with Amplify, be it from web hosting to using AWS Amplify with S3, with React, with Flutter, and also with Gen 1 and Gen 2, and AWS Amplify with GraphQL subscriptions, which is a way where you can make API calls. So all of these are available on our YouTube channel as the recording, so do check them out when you do have time. Today, we have Kedar, who's going to be talking about AWS Amplify, web hosting, S3 buckets, and also securing them, because once you have your web app, it's also very important for you to secure the web app. So over to you, Kedar.
Hey, thanks, Johns. Thanks for the kind introduction. So, welcome to this 30 days of Amplify Challenge team. So, today we will be looking around with the seamless AWS Amplify deployment with the S3. As it has been mentioned by Johns, is that previously we had already got so many speakers aligned and they had already shared a lot of things with the Amplify and S3 and implementing with all of these things. So what we will gonna do today is that we will go one step further. So whatever the application we will be deploying onto this Amplify, we will implement the VABT headers so that our application will get secure, and you will see in the demo itself. So it will be a kind of practically doing the things. So I'll not talk about the theoretical. So I will also help you to get a deeper understanding about the S3 and Amplify deployment. So without wasting any time, so we can go further. So Jones, can I go for the next slide? Sure. So this is what we will be talking about in today's session. So first we will complete the introduction about the amplify and what are the use cases of the amplify and how we can use that amplify with the S3 and how we can add the VAPT headers later on. The second is that amplify hosting for SPA. So as you already been got into this sphere thing like static page application hosting, so it's a web-based framework that we can use like Vue.js, React.js, and many of the frameworks are there which will help us to build the single page application. The fourth one will be looking into how we can build the Vue.js application with the perspective of how we can use it with the Amplify. So that building and hosting we will be doing onto the same session only. Now, after that, we will see how we can deploy that build application, whatever the build has been completed or we have built it, how we can deploy with the help of Amplify. So first, what we will do, we'll create. So I think the S3 bucket has been already created. I'll let you know the steps and how we can use that Amplify and what are the ways of Amplify deployment are there. So after that, we will overview the VAPT headers. So VAPT is nothing but vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So what we will be adding is that we will add the custom headers and we will also see how we can use these custom headers with the next approach. And the fifth one is that testing and the overview of setup. So without wasting any time, we'll go with the introduction first. So, talking about the introduction, what is AWS Amplify and its benefits about the AWS Amplify? So, most of the things which is required for this introduction got covered by many of the speakers, but I will just quickly introduce about the Amplify thing. So, Amplify is being used as to deploy the front end as well as the backend thing with the help of various services, and which is very cost effective, and it has many use cases where we can use the AWS Amplify and we can make our lives easier. And this amplify we can use with the less overhead, so we don't have to be worry about about the things. We don't have to worry about the underlying architecture that it is being used and how it is gonna configure. So what we will be doing is that totally using this amplify, and the rest of the stuff AWS will do. So this was the introduction about the amplify. So we will be majorly talking about the methods to host our single page application onto the amplify. So here if you see, we can deploy this amplify, like we can deploy our static page application via the git based method. So when I say the git based method, we can use the Bitbucket, Git, and any other git based provider, so that whenever any commit has been happened into this branch, it will directly commit, like it will run the pipeline of the amplify and it will deploy this. So but we will be talking about in this session is that manual zip upload as well as the S3. So if you see, the second approach to host the single page application onto the amplify is that we can deploy without git. So let's say I have my own CI/CD pipelines and all these things. So I don't want to use the Bitbucket to authenticate and deploy my application. So what I can do, I can deploy as my static application with the S3 or the manual zip upload. So that we will cover it out. The third thing is that we how we can additionally add the headers. So when I say the VAPT headers, VAPT is nothing but vulnerable assessment and penetration testing headers, which is used when to secure our web application. So now we have talked about various things about the services and all of these things, but when we go for any audit and all these things, it will be very easier for us if you have this VAPT header set, so that we can have our application with a views where we can have the VAPT headers allocated. So in the VAPT headers, if you see here, there are 3 to 4 main testing phases that that is required. So first is content security policies, the second one is XPrem options, and the third one is strict transport security. So talking about the content security policy, is that the security content security policy is being used to prevent the cross-site scripting and data injection attacks. So here, if you can see the default SRC we have given, script SRC we have given. So what it will do, it will help our application to get the exact thing. So whether my application is required this image source or this style source or script source, so that we can add it into this content security policy. Now then the second one is that XFrame option. So this is additional security headers that we used to add in our application, is that XFrame options, which will be helpful us to protect against the clickjacking. So I'll give you the scenario where, let's say you have deployed one application and you don't want to inject that application to another web application. So suppose any hacker came and he is injecting your web application and is doing some malfunctioning there. So what you can do, you can restrict that with the things of extreme options, that whether you just have to provide the domain ID, and there you can provide the complete URL which can be used for the extreme options. Then there is a strict transport security, where it will be used to enforce the secure connection to our web servers, which is nothing but like it will ensure that all of the communication between the browser and the Amplify server will be encrypted. So this was for the additional VAPT headers that we will be digging into. So so talking about like this many things that we are talk about is only the theoretical perspective. Now let's dive into this practical world. So how we can uh, build and deploy into the S3, and how we can add the custom headers, add the security headers, so that it will be helpful to get the things done. Okay, so we will be following this workflow. The first one is that we will have to clone the repository. If you have the repository with it, which is having the single page application, so that you can use it, and you can build the production build where you can use the npm run build command, and you can build for this. So currently what I am doing, I'm having my own repository. I will give you that repository URL afterwards, so that also you can get things done. So first step is to that clone the repository and deploy the Vue.js frontend app. Okay, so when I say the deployment, we will be building it for the production, and then if you see the second step is that build and push, building as Vue.js production build to the root folder, where it will have the index.html files, because whenever we are trying to deploy into this S3 and Amplify, it will check the index file, and afterwards it will validate that index file, and it will deploy to this CloudFront location that is been configured by the Amplify and on the backend side. And then third we will be doing is that deploying to the Amplify. So so if you just check here, I have given my own GitHub repository. Now, so this is my repository where I had cloned my sample Vue.js application. If you see here, this is what has been cloned. And so what you will have to do, you will have to first npm install and npm run dev, just to check whether you're having. Yeah, so just to check whether our application is having our whether your code is been configured like that. So if you can see, like here, the project setup has been done with the npm install. Then if you want to run it, you can have this compile and hot reload to check whether you have installed all of the libraries in your local machine, and then you can run a dev. And you can do it with the npm run build, where you can compile and minify for the production build. So that step we will be doing later on. So just to save time, what I have done, I have already created my own S3 bucket, and I also created the zip. Okay, so now this zip, if you see here, this zip is nothing but it is having the index.html, and so this is what I have created. So the dist folder is nothing. It will create when you see when you run the npm run build, it will create the build folder and distribution folder, which can used for our deployment perspective. So without wasting any time, we can go for the uh, practical exposure of the things. So team, if you want to add.
While we are waiting for uh, this to complete,
Okay,
we were having a small
I'm
discussion
saying.
with Kedar and I. Kedar
Yeah.
shared that he created his own S3 bucket solution to basically as a utility to back up his photographs because he loves traveling and he loves to create memories. Kudos to Kedar for doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Amandeep. So are we having any questions till now, or I should take it up after the session ends?
There is one question from Rupa. Could you please share the link to the AWS documentation for the security part?
So
Do
Rupa
you?
currently, yeah, I'll just let her know. So Rupa currently, what the documentation is here is that Amplify with S3 we have, but the security part we will be having the custom header section. So I will provide you this same link after this call. I hope you have got my answer.
Thanks, Kedar.
Yeah, then so we can do go for the practical exposure. Okay, so now if you see here, I had already tried one application which is to be deployed, like the last update was 45. No problem, we'll do it for the from the scratch. If you go with this approach, so here if you see here, you will have to first install the necessary configuration. You will have to build the application code into this minified production build. Now, after this build, you will get a distribution folder which will have all of this minified JS, which can be hosted at anywhere else. So that you will have to go with go with that separate distribution folder, and you will have to zip it out with this naming convention of your choice. Now I have tried to zip it with this code.zip. Okay, and I tried it to do it whatever the code that is been inside the disk. So that here is why we are doing it, because when you say amplify to build our S3 application, it will first check the index.html file, and if the index.html file is not under the root folder, it will directly cancels our deployment. That's why we are zipping it with the zip file as a root folder. Now afterwards, what you can do, you can upload that zip file into the S3 bucket. Now previously I had already uploaded it, so just to have the demo, what I will do, I'm using one predefined cloud shell. Okay, so what I will do, I already have this zip. I will unzip it. Okay, so if I just remove this code.zip, now I have this index.html with me, and here inside that index.html, the title is 30 days of Amplify. Now what I will do, I will change it to 30 days of Amplify. So now I have my updated code ready. So this step you can do it on your local machine by building it and pushing it to this S3 bucket. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing onto the separate index.html to save our build time. Now what you can do, you can zip it up. I have this command ready with me. I'll also share this with you. So you just copy whatever the distribution folder. I just copied it. I open this index.html, I remove it, and what I will do, I will zip it. So here the zip file got created. Now this zip file we will be using to deploy our application. I'll go from the scratch. If I want, I will create a new bucket, which will not take more than 2 to 3 minutes. 30 days of Amplify demo. And what you can do whenever you are creating any bucket, you must specify this ACL enabled, because okay, let's check with the ACL disabled, and then we can see why we are getting the error, and then we can change the ownership. Okay, so I'll just create the bucket. Bucket name must So 30 days of Amplify demo has been created. Now what I will do, I will upload the zip file. You can do it manually, or else if you have this zip code, you can use the command to upload into this zip S3 bucket by use of this AWS S3 code.zip. And what I want to do is that I want to get it from 30 days of Amplify demo to this zip. Now my S3 bucket has this code.zip, which is nothing but an build, a production build. What I will do, I will go for the Amplify, and I'll create a new app just to have the demo. Here, if you remember in the first slide, I have mentioned we can deploy our web app with the Bitbucket, like the Git providers like GitHub, Bitbucket, Code Commit, and GitLab. And the second one is that deploy without the Git. So it will help us to deploy with the S3 and manual Git. So I have chosen the deploy without Git. So I'll give the Amplify name 30 days of Amplify. Branch name, I'm trying it for the dev as of now. You can do it later on, whatever you want to specify. Then here I will choose the S3 bucket where I have uploaded my minified JS files. So I will browse the S3. I have chosen this 30 days of Amplify. I will choose the prefix. I will save and deploy. So here, if you see here, we are getting this bucket filled because the policy is either missing or has insufficient permission, because we haven't added this ASL enabled. So what you will have to do, you will have to go to the access control list. Okay, maybe once we have, wait, So I'll create another bucket, Amplify demo. Here, whenever you are creating a bucket, you will have to specify the ACL enabled. For that bucket, we will have to do it with the AWS CLI. We can do it later on if you want. So if you see the ACL enabled and bucket owner preferred, and create the bucket, Amplify demo T-days. I'll have to again save this code.zip to specific S3 bucket. Now I have my S3 bucket and my code is there. Okay. Now what I will do, I will go for create a new app. I will start without a git. Choose 30 days amplify. Dev as a staging. Browse S3, amplify demo. I'm choosing this code zip. So this all list we can automate it later on. Okay. Why it is failing? 30 days amplify. The bucket policy is either missing. Okay, sorry about that. So whenever we are creating the S3 bucket, you will have to select the policy as an object writer. ACLs are available, which can be used. Maybe because of the S3 bucket creation, we are getting this. Okay, no problem. So now our amplifier got built, and which is been deployed. And if you see here, the title is 30 days of amplify. Now as per this, we have built, wait a minute, we have clone, build and push and deploy to the amplify. So what we will do, we will add the security headers. Okay, now just to check whether our application got added with the security or not, so what I can do, I will use this URL, whatever the URL has been specified. I will go here, I will scan the site. So if you see here, this report summary got failed because we don't have our strict transport security, content security policy, extreme options are not there. Now, just to update it, what we will have to do is that I will go with the Amplify app. I'll go for the hosting, and just to add more points over here, that I'm inside.
Hi, Kedar.
Hey, hi, Amandeep.
Sorry, everyone. There was a technical glitch, and we are back. Sorry about that, everyone, including you, Kedar. I know that that sucks, especially during a live demo. Um, would you like to continue with your demo?
Yeah. Just give me a minute. I'm just sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Maybe there is a deployment going on from their side. So we don't want to go inside that. So we were on to the addition of custom headers. So I'll just quickly brief you whatever we have done. Okay. So what we had done, we had clone our application, we have built it, we have also changed our index.html, and we have deployed. We have just changed into this ACL enabled. Okay, so copying file to S3 bucket with the explaining with the additional configuration. Now, what we will do, I have also given you that scanned results, like this is the security headers and we have the security report as an fill. Okay, now it's our responsibility to make it a full-fledged application where we can use or give this URL to anyone else. Now I will go to this custom headers section that I was just explaining you. So I have tried this. So this is the URL that is being deployed, 30 days of Amplify. Now, what we will do, I was just talking about this custom domains, custom headers, and all these things. So the custom domains here, we can add the domains of your choice. We just have to ensure that we have access to our root directory, that is a DNS register, and then that's it. We can go and we can add the domain. So we will be focusing on this custom domain. So currently, if you see the 30 days of Amplify, whatever the bucket, the URL is there, this URL is not in the right way, as this security report is failed, and we don't have any strict transport security, content security, extreme option. Now, what I will do, I had these custom headers. After this call, after this session, I will share you the repository link where we have also documented all these things. I have also added the custom headers to be added. Now you can go ahead and you can just add this into your application. So first you will have to go to the custom headers, you will have to edit it, you will have to add it. Now here, if you just check here, we are adding the content type option, security protection, strict transport security that we have just gone into. Then we are being adding this content security policies where we are giving this script source as self, and the when we say about this click jacking, where we will have to add this xframe options, frame ancestors, xframe options, and the pragma. So these are the security headers that we use. Now I'll just save it. That's it. And if I just scan my result, now site got full-fledged with the security headers, and we have also got added our headers. Now this was for the adding the custom headers. Now if you want to deploy this S3 with Amplify automatically, what you can do, you can use this command where I'm just putting out this command over here. So what you will have to do first, you will have to build your npm build whatever you are mentioning to the specific bucket. Now afterwards you will start the deployment. To do that, what I will do, I have already this URL, and if you see, I already use this URL with the 30 days of Amplify. Okay. Now what I will do, I will go to this cloud shell. I will change this index.html with the 30 days of Amplify to we are back. Back with 30 days Amplify. Now if I just check in this code. I will just run the zip file first. I will remove this zip file. Okay, I will then make the zip file. Now I have the latest zip file. You see the latest zip file is with this UTC format. What I will do, I will copy this zip file to specific folder. So amplify demo 30 days.zip. Now this code has been updated to our S3 bucket, amplify demo 30 days with the 645, 648 that has been mentioned. Now, previously what we were doing, we were going into this amplify, we were clicking on the deploy updates and we were selecting the S3 buckets. Now let's automate this with a simple one command that I will just provide with you. So I have my code ready with the zip file, which is called the artifact deployment. I will use this command to start the deployment. I'll just copy it. I'll go with the shell script or any CI/CD pipeline we have. Oh, sorry. I think I didn't copy this. I'm just copying this. I'll explain this one by one with you. So if you see here, what we are doing is that we are going to deploy our application with the branch name, whatever we had specified, and we are passing the source URL of the S3 bucket. In this case, we will have the different source URL. I'll just change it. So you will have to change here is that the application ID and branch name. So we should focus on the application ID and the branch name. So application ID is nothing but this, whatever, whenever you are creating this application, it generates an application ID and which can be used. Okay. 30 days of Amplify. I'll just copy. Now currently, if you see here, the title is 30 days of Amplify, but we have changed it to we are back with 30 days of Amplify. I will just add the Amplify ID. The branch name that I had provided is that dev as in staging. The source URL of the application is amplify demo hyphen 30 days, which is this one, amplify demo hyphen 30 days, because we have updated our latest code at 648. Just paste it. I'll enter it. Now if you see here, our job summary is going to be pending here. Now you can go to the amplify and it is deploying the new code within a 10 to 15 seconds, like within a minute it will deploy our second application. And like if you see, it got built and deploy, beginning the deployment of application this. Now if I see here 30 days of Amplify, it should change the title with the we are back. If you're not able to clear with it, I'll just zoom it somewhere else. Okay, so we are back with Amplify and the Amplify deployment also got succeed. So that if you see the deployments, the second deployment got deployed and we were able to deploy our new changes. We are back it with the Amplify. So I think we have completed the workshop demo, and once we have everything set up, we can delete the resources. Although these are the resources are not been cost contributed, like we can use it, but better you can delete the resources. So this is what we had gone with this session. So I'll just give the quickly overview. We have deployed or built our single page application. We have deploy with the Amplify manually first. Then we have added the VAPT headers, and then we have checked with the security headers that our application was not in place to have the securities. Then we have added the securities and we have deployed it with the command that I have provided. So I think this is all about me and myself, Kedar. I'm currently being a certified solution architect and working in a one silver bullet as a cloud and DevOps architect. So these are my LinkedIn and this GitHub repo. So over to you, Amandeep.
Thanks, Kedar. Thanks for a wonderful session. This was very informative, and also thank you for giving us a wonderful demo. And,
Yeah.
hope to see you around again.
Sorry.
Hope to see you around again.
Yeah. Thanks, Amandeep. Thank you so much for the team. I would like to thanks to all of the AWS User Group India members who have been doing this without any time. With the special thanks to Amandeep who has been helping me for this all this, and Johns and other user group members. So I would love to meet you, and we will be thriving it once again. Whenever you require, we will be doing this.
Sure. Thanks, Kedar.
Thank you so much, Amandeep, and thank you, team.
Hey everyone, just a kind reminder that we have our hackathon which is ongoing. You still have time in case you have not started, because Amplify is known to basically go live in from an idea to an application to like a running application in production in a matter of hours. So you still have time, and if you want to work as a team, you can have up to 4 members in the team, or you can work as individually as well. And please note that the last date of submitting your entries is 20th of November. In case someone has already finished that, feel free to um, submit your work. There are some awesome swags to be won for the first 3 winners, and the first winner would, apart from getting an awesome swag kit, an official swag kit of AWS Amplify, you'd also receive 500 US credits, USD credits of AWS. Second runner up, third runner up would also get AWS credits. Also, kind reminder that we have an ongoing social media contest. We are available on all the social handles with the name AWS UG India. Please tag your learnings and use the hashtag 30 days of Amplify. 30 days of Amplify, so that you can, we can see, we are able to track your posts, and yeah, as I said earlier, the winners would get rewarded. With that, let me bring Jones back to stage. Hey, Jones.
Hey, Aman. Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing the insights about the hackathon. I did see some question about what we have to submit before 20th of November. You want to give some insights on that?
Yeah, so there are rules which have been laid on the page for our hackathon for 30 days of Amplify. Team would shortly share it in the chat. You can follow the rules and make a submission. In case you have any doubts, you can ask in case you have a specific doubt.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. And thank you, Kedar, for sharing some insights about how do you secure applications with AWS Amplify and following some best practices with the VAPP headers. The next session today is going to be from Takuya San, who's from Japan, and he is one of the AWS User Group members in Japan, and also will be his first session in English is this one. So kudos to Takun, if I'm pronouncing it right. Kudos to him for stepping out of his comfort zone and sharing his knowledge about AWS Amplify. He's not here joining us live, but we do have a session and we'll be proceeding ahead with it.
Thank you and welcome to my session. I'm Takuya and I'm from Sapporo, Japan. I would like to thank everyone at AWS User Group India and everyone involved in this event. Today is my first session in English. This is a big challenge for me. The title of this session is Amplify Gen2 Deep Dive. How to convey backend types to the front end. Let's dive into Amplify together. This slide is my self-introduction. I work as a software engineer at Corp Sapporo. I usually use Flutter, TypeScript, Vue.js, and React. I also introduce some of the communities I'm involved in. The first one, Your Web Sapporo, is a local community I run. I hold meetups related to web technology. The second is the Amplify Japan User Group, where we exchange information about Amplify and hold meetups. The third is the AWS Community Builder Program. I think there are members of this in the AWS User Group India. Participating in this program can also get advanced information about AWS. As I mentioned, we at the Amplify Japan User Group exchange information about Amplify and hold meetups in Japan. We also communicate using Discord. Here's what's in store for this session. The first section is Amplify Gen 2. I'll give you a brief overview of Amplify. The following section is Deep Dive in Code. Here we'll take a look at the actual code. Now here is an overview of AWS Amplify. First, what is AWS Amplify? You've probably already seen it in this 30 Days of Amplify series. So, I'll give a brief overview. AWS Amplify is the service and tools for front-end application development. Includes hosting with CI/CD, multi-environment based on Git branches, libraries for AWS resources, Cognito, S3, AppSync, and so on. Web front-end libraries, there are React, Next.js, Angular, Vue, and JavaScript. And smartphone application libraries, there are React Native, Flutter, Android, and Swift. So, what kind of developer experience does Amplify Gen 2 provide? I'll give a brief overview of this point too. First point is development with TypeScript. We can now develop everything using TypeScript, a web front-end library using TypeScript, resource definition using TypeScript files, and Lambda functions can be written in TypeScript, and so on. And second point is Sandbox. It's development environment on AWS. The Sandbox command includes CDK. And what is the Sandbox? That means it is for the development environment on your local machine, and providing an environment on AWS for each team member, and quick resource deployment by hot swapping. Let's look at a simple figure of a sandbox. It's a very simple figure. First, we update the backend resource file. Then we can immediately reference the type from the frontend. At the same time, the sandbox command runs the CDK and deploys the resources to AWS. This process ensures that the resources definitions in the backend are immediately reflected in both the frontend and the AWS resource. Now, let's look at the code involved in this process. Our target this time is a resource in the data category. First, we'll look at the fields, models, schema types. Next, we'll look at the flow that leads to front-end type hinting. Finally, we'll look at the flow of running the CDK from the sandbox. Now let's begin our deep dive. We'll look at the fields, models, schema types. First is field. Let's look at resource.ts. We look at the field's type hinting, and we can see that it is of type model field. We are using a.string. This method is defined in modelField.ts. There are similar methods for fields other than string like integer. Let's look at the underscore field method being called here. In the underscore field method, the required method is defined. This method is called following a.string, for example. The return type of the underscore field method is model field. Now let's take a look at model field. In model field, the type associated with underscore field is defined. If we look at required, we see that it codes itself using the union type of use method and required. Using omit removes the property specified by used method. This is very smart. Once you use required method on a field, the required method will not appear in the next method chain. This provides a better developer experience. Okay, next, we look at models. Look at resource.ts. We look at the type hinting, and we can see that it is of type model type. We are using the a.model method. This method is defined in model type.ts. Let's look at the underscore model method being called here. The underscore model method returns the model type. This makes sense right away. Now let's take another look inside model type. Model type has the same structure as model field. The method chain following the model method is similarly controlled using use method. Okay, next we'll look at schema. Look at resource.ts. We look at the field's type hinting, and we can see that it is of type model schema. And we are using the a.schema method. This method is defined in model schema.ts. And the actual method is defined as bind config to schema. Let's look at the bind config to schema method being called here. First, check the return type of the bind config to schema method, we can see that it is a schema return type. If we look further into the type definition, we can see that the valid type is model schema. This assumes that you are using DynamoDB. Look at the contents of the model schema type. Model schema has the same structure as model type. The method chain following the schema method is similarly controlled using use method. And next, look at the contents of the return value. Let's check the _ddb schema method. _ddb schema method constructs a schema object. The model field contains the actual model type. This example includes to-do. This way, the fields, models, and schema types are defined. Okay, next we will follow the flow of frontend type hinting. Here, we will refer to model type field. First, let's look at the code of the application created according to the Amplify documentation. In frontend code app.tx, there is a type for receiving to-do. This is schema to-do type. Schema loads the backend schema. The first argument to-do corresponds to what was written in the schema method. So, where does the second argument type come from? This checks the type argument for client schema. This is a model schema type we saw earlier, and also it's omitted here. Model schema and generic model schema are the same object. Therefore, internal client schema is selected in the check. Additionally, the schema passed in as a type argument is also checked as an extension of the model schema contents type. Then, the following property is checked, and client schema property is selected as its type. Even more complex type checking is done within client schema property. The type tk is the property value we just checked. This is model type, so remap model is selected for this check. A further check is made within the remap model type. In this case, the model type is passed to the E type, so the client model type is selected. There is a type property in the client method type. The thing we first saw in the front-end code was defined here. The value of this property should be of type model field. Looking inside the client fields type, we see that the entity is resolve fields. Let's take a look at this. Resolve fields type determines whether the property is nullable or not. The actual value is of type resolve individual field. The type argument T of the resolve individual field type is checked to see if it is an extension of the base model field type. This type passed in just before as tk corresponds to the property value. Therefore, it should be of type model field. Now, let's look at the base model field type. Looking at the base model field type, we can see its actual type is model field. Therefore, the previous type judgment matches, so the model field type is adopted as the value type. This means that the type declared in resource.ts is applied to type hinting to frontend. So far, we have seen the flow of frontend type hinting. Okay, finally, we will look at running the CDK from the sandbox. First, let's start by looking at the code for the ampx command to start the sandbox. The ampx command is implemented using the yargs package. Therefore, the implementation follows yargs. First, let's look at the create main parser method implemented to use yargs. Within this method, several options are defined. Sandbox is one of them. We will only be dealing with the sandbox this time. Look at the create sandbox command method. There are two main points in this method. The first is defining command handler, and the second is defining calling CDK. Sandbox singleton factory is defining calling CDK. And sandbox command is the defining command handler. Let's start by looking at this. This class is intended to be used with yargs. If you run npx ampx sandbox in the terminal, the argument sandbox will match the this.command equals sandbox in the class definition, and an object of this class will be used. The handler method is called based on yargs. The sandbox.start method is executed inside this method. The sandbox is set to the sandbox factory argument. Let's go back to the create sandbox command code. Here, sandbox factory is the sandbox singleton factory class. This is the defining calling CDK mentioned earlier. Let's follow this up. This is a sandbox singleton factory, but the actual processing uses the getInstance method. Furthermore, file watching sandbox is called within that method. There is a start method in file watching sandbox. This is called by sandbox.start in sandbox command. This method is a bit large, so we will divide it further and continue explaining. First, the deploy and watch method is called within the start method. Furthermore, this.deploy is called from there. Then, this.executor.deploy is called in the deploy method. Oh, what is the executor? The second argument sets the executor to file watching sandbox. And go back to sandbox singleton factory and check. The second argument is set to amplify sandbox executor. We'll check this next. Let's take a look inside Amplify sandbox executor. The Convey.executor.deploy from file watching sandbox we saw earlier is defined here. The deploy method calls this backend deployer.deploy. Oh, backend deployer. Backend deployer is set as the first argument to Amplify Sandbox executor. So return to Sandbox Singleton Factory again. The first argument to Amplify Sandbox executor is set to backend deploy factory. The substance of backend deployer factory's processing is contained in the getInstance method. This further calls CDK deployer. It feels like we're getting closer to our goal somehow. Let's take a look at it. CDK deployer defines a deploy method. This is called by this.backend-deployer.deploy in Amplify Sandbox executor. Within the deploy method, the try invoke CDK method is further called. Look inside try invoke CDK. We see that invoke CDK is being called. Look inside invoke CDK. We can see the CDK command name and options. Looking further, you can find where the execute command method is called. Within the execute command method, this .package manager controller .run with package manager is further called. Package manager controller is up here. And this package manager controller is configured as the third argument to CDK deployer. So return to backend deployer factory. The third argument of CDK deployer is set to the first argument of the base class. Now let's go back to Sandbox Singleton Factory. The first argument to backend deployer factory is set to Package Manager Controller Factory. Next, we'll look at Package Manager Controller Factory. Get Package Manager Controller method of Package Manager Controller Factory. Different processes depending on the package manager. Here, we will proceed with checking using npm package manager controller. The constructor of npm package manager controller calls the parent class. So check the parent class package manager controller base. Package manager controller base defines run with package manager, which CDK deployer calls. This method calls execute with debug logger. Execute with debug logger runs the command using the execa package. Execa is a package for calling system commands. After a long journey, we finally reach the point where we run the CDK. Let's look at the simple figure again. The resource settings defined in the backend are referenced in the frontend as type and are used by the CDK to deploy the resources. We checked this basic flow by following the source code. Okay, wrap up. We check backend resources convey helpful types to the frontend. It works with type definitions of TypeScript. And Sandbox is watching files changed and running the CDK command in the AMPX command. This concludes my session. I'm glad to present AWS Amplify to you all. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Yeah, that was indeed an insightful one about Gen 2 and how to use CDK and Amplify in conjunction. Next off, we have a fun quiz. Thanks for tuning in during the tech glitch and everything. We now have the quiz. I'll get Avinash up on stage. He can share a screen and we can get started with the quiz.
Yes, I will share a screen. Just a second.
Kudos to Takuya for his first talk in English.
Yep. It's amazing talk. So now let's join the quiz. I think this is the QR code. I will paste the links, and so I think maybe Jones, you can help us to create links. Just give us a couple of minutes to people to join back. I hope everyone has given attention to the last two sessions, which given by Kedar and Takuya. The question will be around that only. So let's hope for the best.
Indeed, the sessions were very knowledgeable.
Yep. So 5 participants, still some more to come. We'll give 1 more minute and then we'll kick off.
We also have a hands-on workshop coming up on next Tuesday. The details have been shared on a social handle, and we would also share in our chat. And don't miss that opportunity. AWS, yeah, that's there on the screen now. Um, you should attend this workshop. This is from Sally. He is an AWS Amplify developer advocate, and he'll be taking this session. So I think we have 5 participants. Let's start with them.
Yeah, I think we can kick it off. I'm going to start the first questions. Let's countdown start. And here is the first question. 3, 2, 1. And here is the questions. Which of the following immediately affect you when you save a backend file? Frontend, AWS resources, frontend AWS resources, none. Quick. 50-second left. Doo. And here is the answer, frontend and AWS resources. Oh, only one participant has been able to answer it. No worry, we still have a few more questions. Let's do it, give it a try. Next question. What is the command for using the sandbox? npx sandbox, npx ampx, npx ampx sandbox, or amplify sandbox? If you have given attention to the Takuya sessions, you might know this answer. So let's give a try with this. 5 second left. Quick fast. Oh, 3 participants. Good. So answer is npx amp sandbox. Now go to the next question. When using the sandbox, what is the command that actually update the AWS resources? Is that a AWS SDK or AWS CDK or Terraform or can be Ansible? Let's check out what is. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds. And here we are, the answers. The answer is AWS CDK. Good, we have a participant. So let's check out who are the leaders currently. Like still, yeah. So Rupa Rachipada is in the top currently. We'll go to the next questions. What is the package name in the source code to run AWS CDK? Execa, ESLint, Prettier, a Globe. Come on. 15 seconds left. People who are not done anything yet still have a chance. Let's give a try. 5 seconds left. And here is the answer, the Execa. Wow. 4 participants, not bad, right? Good. So still our leaderboard is Rachipudi and Rupalari is there. So let's go to the next question. And that is the end of the questions. This is the last question of that. So what TypeScript syntax is used to control method chaining in model field? Delete, remove, reduce, or omit? 50 seconds left. Come on. 5 seconds left. And here is answers. Omit. Oh, no one will able to answer it. Yes, but it was the omit one. No problem. Now we'll just end the quiz and we'll see who are our leaderboard top. Go to the leaderboards. Wow. So Rachapudi, Dupalari, and Danwan. Congratulations to winners. And stay tuned with the update from the AWS User Group India. We'll get back to you with the details required. I will hand over to Amal.
Hey, Jones. Thank you for being the MC here.
Thank you, Aman. Before we sign off, probably we want to call out about joining our Discord channel. It's discord.com/invite/amplify, where you can join the public channel for the hackathon, and you can post your queries there. We do have experts, not just us volunteers from AWS User Group India, but also from AWS Amplify team who can help you answer them with the technical questions and help you build for the hackathon.
Absolutely, and that is how we learn. We learn by practicing, and that's the best way to win-win when in terms of the knowledge as well as the potential to win the prizes.
Absolutely.
Okay. With that, let's call it virtual meetup and see you all again on Tuesday, on Saturday. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.